joining us tonight. Heart Center is a loving community where we encourage you to bring your gifts and your challenges and share them with total freedom and authenticity. And I am Jay Dubois. I am a professor. I'm an expert in human relations. And I focus especially on interpersonal and intersocietal relations. I teach about race and gender, and my students really respond strongly to this teaching, this message about interpersonal interconnection in a variety of ways. And I think we all tune in deeply to understanding why it is we do what we do when it comes to connection. This week, we are talking about avoidance, which is one of my favorite topics. And, you know, Winnie's smiling across from me right now because she knows that when it's our favorite topic, what that means is it's the one that really is really often the most difficult or challenging and therefore brings the most growth to our lives. So I am a person who constitutionally loves to avoid. Now, of course, I didn't set out to be this way, and my dad didn't say, when you grow up, son, avoid all your problems, right? But through a variety of personal, familial, and societal factors, I, and many men actually, I find, in my practice, I learned how to avoid as a child. And, you know, we do this in response to some trauma that's happened, some difficulty in our lives. But I want to talk about what this looks like for me and why it comes up in my life. And I'm the kind of avoider that likes, or not likes to, I don't want to say I like to. I'm the kind of, my constitution in the past was the kind of person who would avoid difficult topics by getting angry. You know, I had a client come to me recently with this pattern of getting angry and triggered. Now, you might be saying to yourself, why you were talking about avoidance and all of a sudden we're talking about getting angry and triggered. Well, what this person reported to me is that anger would come up because of something that was unexpected or something he didn't like, and he would blow up, and then it would create this silence, like a bomb had been dropped in the room, and then he could just walk away and avoid it. And this was a pattern that he had had. And there's a number of other ways that this comes up in our lives. It comes up through addiction often with men. And I also have a history of addiction, of recovering from addiction. And basically what all of this avoidance comes from, in my life, my experience, is the desire to avoid pain. It's a lot of pain in all of our lives. But I had particular pains in childhood that my system tried to erase because it was traumatic, and then it comes up. It came up over the course of my life in different ways. And it would create a reaction that was difficult or sometimes impossible to avoid. So when any one of a number of things would trigger this wound, I would react. I would overreact. And so this client comes to me very much like I was. So I have very much compassion for him. And this is the first thing I want to say towards the solution to avoidance, right? So I used to numb, I used to get angry, I used to escape as well through, the first thing I learned actually was to escape through fantasy when I was a child, through fantasy and science fiction, spend endless hours reading stories. What I found, one of the solutions, a step towards stopping avoiding in my life, is the ability to see the value of the pain. And I'm going to let Winnie talk in a little while, but I want to talk about something she refers to, which is the gold coins, right? So Winnie is very wise, and when something comes up in our lives or in our clients' lives, Winnie likes to remind them to find the gold coins. What is in this that's valuable, right? Well, it turned out for me that when I could stop avoiding the pain and just sit with it for a minute and give myself some compassion. Oh yeah, of course, I'm in pain. This hurts, right? It's difficult to face rejection. It's difficult to face loneliness. It's difficult. These things are challenging, or can be challenging. And so it's natural for us, at the first layer of it, it's natural for us to have these reactions. So the first thing we want to do in this situation is give ourselves compassion. Now, I was not taught to do this. I actually learned to judge myself whenever I did anything that was wrong. So this would create a loop. And this client that I was talking about had a very similar pattern in his life. And he came to me and he was having a relationship conflict. And I told him, next time you're in a conflict in your relationship like this, instead of walking out, which was his pattern, which echoed my earlier pattern, instead of getting angry, which was his pattern, instead of allowing it to push you over the edge, sit with it for a minute. More than a minute. Because it takes more than a minute. But it doesn't take a lot more than a minute. So this was my big revelation that I want to share, is that I spent all these years, all of this energy, all this time pushing this away, this pain. I don't want to deal with it. And I had years of addiction and years of, conflict with my ex-wife and all of this. And when I discovered that if I just sat with it, leaned into it a little bit, I don't feel like it requires a superhuman effort, right? It just requires this is uncomfortable, but I'm going to sit here for a few minutes rather than getting up and walking out, rather than jumping to conclusions. And this is another thing I've discovered, is my brain loves to fool me into avoiding, right? My brain loves to tell me stories about how you did me wrong. You do me wrong whenever I leave the house. Sometimes I don't even need to leave the house. I can just get on my computer and watch how the president done me wrong or whatever, right? All of these are ways that I avoid what I'm feeling about what's actually happening. And just a little more presence really just takes a little bit of awareness and effort. But here's the trick. I can't judge like I used to. That cycle of feeling like something's wrong, something's uncomfortable, wanting to avoiding it, and then judge myself for avoiding it creates a cycle that is no good for anybody, especially me. So I would love to hear where you are coming from. I would love to hear your relationship with avoidance, your pattern. Now, one thing that Winnie and I discovered this week, because when we do this work, we discuss the topic coming up to a Wednesday, and we discovered that Winnie has basically the opposite pattern to me. I tend to be in, my sort of natural constitution tends to be overtly angry, but suppressing my fear. Whereas she found that she had the opposite. So I think this is really interesting. I think it's, I'd really like for Winnie to discuss it. And the reason I think it's interesting is because we in this world, there's this yin-yang. We often try to put one blanket solution on everything, but often there are different polarities and different places that people fall on the spectrum in between. So I just want to talk about, I want to let Winnie to come on and talk about her perspective. So if you would be so kind, my dear queen.
Hello, everyone. Really want to take a moment to welcome everyone in person, on Zoom, and also Facebook. All of you are the reason why I exist.
Mm-hmm.
It's the reason why I'm here. I keep telling myself, okay, try to keep it together, don't cry on camera, but there's not one week that has worked, so. But I just want to take a moment and really show you my gratitude for your existence, how much you mean to me. And I also want to take a moment to acknowledge my teacher, Dr. and Master Jigang Sha. He is trained in Western medicine, Chinese medicine, and he's a world-renowned spiritual healer. And what you didn't see behind the scenes before we hit the play button is Jay did something that we called opening the field. What is the field? You know, Einstein says that we are actually particle and waves. So a field is composed of information, energy, and matter. So when we walk into the room and say, wow, this room has good vibrations, or we say, wow, this room's got some questionable vibrations in the room, it's not just woo-woo, when in fact, it's actually vibration can be measured in frequency, wavelength, and amplitude. So imagine in quantum physics, that you can actually quantify mathematically in the formula what high vibration and low vibration looks like. So this is not just woo, it's quantum physics. I'm really excited about this because this stuff is real. And I want to take a moment to thank Master Sha for creating this beautiful Tao calligraphy. Because Tao is the ultimate source and creator. Tao cannot be seen and cannot be touched. So, okay, if something has no name, no shape, no time, how can we connect to the source? So, through this technology called Tao calligraphy, when he writes the calligraphy, he connects to the source, and the source puts the field, the highest positive information field, into the calligraphy, so that when we are in the field, we're automatically receiving the benefits from this field. And I want to share a story, because when Jay was opening the field, and of course the topic today is avoidance, this part of my arm went like, you know, like when you're driving a car and the dashboard like is just like flashing. So I've never experienced this sensation in my life, but the second he opened the field, it was like, psh, 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 psh. I'm like, okay, my dear, my body, I love you. I heard your message loud and clear. So Dr. Basil Van der Kolk, he wrote this famous book called The Body Keeps a Score. So our traumas, our unhealed wounds, or some of us, we're going to talk about numbness today, is actually hidden in the body. And what I like about the body is that it's like Shakira has that song, Hips Don't Lie. Our body is the data. Our body is a report card. Our body is incapable of lying. So whether you have infertility, cancer, headache, any physical problem, high blood pressure, weight gain, and I really love this because I have been in integrative wellness for almost a decade. I started as an acupuncturist, and I still am a licensed acupuncturist. And what I love about this is I immediately connected because I have medical intuition, and I look in the body, it's like Google Maps. Right? There's green, which means flow. Okay, good job. Red is stuck, which means the energy is not flowing. So I invite everyone to consider that our brain doesn't want us to get enlightened. Our brain wants to get trapped and stuck in eternal suffering. But when we do the meditation, when we sit with our body in the field, that allows us this information, then we can begin to go deeper about what is it that I am ready to heal today. So this actually is the point on the large intestine channel. In traditional Chinese medicine, large intestine is impaired when there's grief. So there is actually what we call a yin organ and a yang organ. So a yin organ is that which that has form. So for example, my lung, okay, if we do an autopsy, is that the English word? You would see a physical muscle, which is the lung, and we call it the yin organ. And then large intestine is a tube, it's hollow. So we call that a yang organ because it's less dense. Yeah, exactly. Okay, you got it. We got some very special people in the room. They instantly understand yin yang. Okay, so yin is dense, right? So yin is heavy and dark. Yang is light, formless, and hollow. So it's really interesting because grief can impair both the lungs and the large intestine. And in this case, it's actually my large intestine. So that means it's a yang aspect of grief. So, if we think about this, a lot of the times, maybe we've heard by our parents, our teachers, ex-lovers, ex-girlfriends or boyfriends. A lot of times when we break up, for example, I went through a divorce, then that is in the lungs. But if we have a dream and that dream is unrealized, then it has to do with that we haven't realized, we're grieving that I haven't realized the dream. So I'm so very excited what this is going to unfold tonight. And I said, dear my arm, large intestine channel, on the left side. The left side is the feminine side. The right side is the masculine side. So it has to do with my service in being a woman. Here's the thing about being an acupuncturist, right? What are we trained to be an acupuncturist is we diagnose what's wrong with somebody and then we fix them. Now, with complete honor and respect to all the ancestors and all the lineage of acupuncturists that came before me, it was very medically necessary to have a diagnosis and to fix the problem or treat the person. When they're constipated, yes, we want to be treated. We have insomnia, yes, we want to be treated. But in addition to the current medical system, when we look at what's wrong with you, there's what Jay calls the gold coin, right? Because there is the what's wrong that cause the insomnia and the constipation, but there's also what's perfect. What is perfect? What is the new fruit that wants to grow out of this soil? What is the gift in this situation? And so my body's saying, okay, wait, you've done a really good job as an acupuncturist. And this next chapter in your life is really about helping people see the gold coins. That this pain in my arm is not here to annoy me, frustrate me, bother me. This pain in my arm is actually a wake-up call that there's something unrealized, an untapped fountain of love, of service, of physical abundance, money, that I only need to listen. And I want to share a client story because this month I had a client. She had gallstone. And I said, okay, Western medicine, when you have gallstone, they just take you to the surgery and then they cut it out. But in spiritual medicine, we ask the question, what is the root cause of the gallstone and why did this person manifest the gallstone? And I'm very, very grateful to my teacher, Master Sha, because he helped me open my spiritual channel. And I received a message that she had an unrealized dream for the last 8 years. Basically, she developed a prototype that can help relieve anxiety. I'm not going to give away her trade secret. But then she just sat on it and sat on it and sat on it and sat on it. And she didn't take the action of realizing this dream that she had in her heart. So basically, my view of the body is that it's the most sacred. And whenever there's a single itch, pain, or even numbness, it's inviting us to look at it. And maybe ask somebody for a reading. What is the root cause of this? Because it's time that we wake up and not just ignoring and numbing and running away from our sole purpose that brings us joy, that makes us excited to wake up every morning, to know who we are and what is it that we're here to help each other accomplish. Okay, so I'm really excited. I want to give everybody a moment. If there's anybody in person or online who wants to share anything that is coming up for them at this moment.
Anyone?
Okay. So what's coming up? Do you have something to say?
No, I was going to move it along.
Okay.
If you have something, please share.
What's coming up is I'm going to offer a blessing and chant the sacred lines of the forgiveness mantra. Because most of us have something that we're avoiding looking. That's why nobody's jumping up and down telling us, okay, so let's get into the condition. So everyone put one hand over the heart and one hand over the lower abdomen. This blessing is for everybody in person and online. Master Sha teaches that the forgiveness vibrates the sixth chakra, which is the brain and the third eye. So allow this blessing to clear blockages is appropriate in our brain. Some of us call these blind spots. What is it that we're blind to that we're ready to release on this day? Blessing is appropriate for everyone. I deeply apologize. Please forgive me. Tenda, tenda, transforms all life. Love you, love you, love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I deeply apologize. Please forgive me. Tenda, tenda, transform all life. Love you, love you, love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Silent blessing continues. Please keep your eyes closed. How, thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you, love you, love you. Gongsun, gongsun, gongsun. Okay, I love to hear. Now that the blockages to denial and numbness is gone, somebody is ready to talk.
You want to go?
Sure.
Go.
Let's go. Let's see what comes up.
What's your mark?
Sure.
Here's Chloe.
Hello, everyone. Avoidance is a very hard topic. I am an avoidant person. I'll just straight up say that. I am an avoidant person. And I have been working on healing it. And it takes a lot of conscious effort to really push yourself to do the things that you don't want to do. Like, sometimes it's even really simple and mundane. But, for example, I used to have a lot of trouble with people getting to know me, who I am, or even, like, just interacting with me. I'm like, what do you want? What do you want from me? What do you want to know about me? Like that. Like, and I would push people away, like, without even trying. It was so hard for me to maintain relationships. I would avoid so much. But to heal that is a lot more so, one, surround yourself with people that you actually want to be with. Because when you're with people who don't mesh with you, then you want to avoid more. Like, obviously, like, something's going on there. You don't want to be around them for a reason. Kind of like it's not meshing with you. But with getting people closer to my heart, it's just, one, being authentically myself, because if I'm authentically myself, then that shows clearly who I am, so people don't have to kind of poke and prod, like, so who are you? Like, I'm not mysterious and whatnot. I know for a fact that I am someone that people take interest in, they want to know more about. So match their curiosity, and like even the simple phrase like, how are you doing, what's going on for you, I'm like, ha ha ha, I'm good. Like, I don't want to get into like the nitty gritty of it, because I've been kind of socially conditioned to just like, how are you? Oh, I'm good, I'm fine, that's it, nothing else. But sometimes, you know, there is a space to be able to get into that nitty gritty, to be able to talk about it, because some people really do care. How are you doing? Like the avoidance is telling you to brush it off, like to tell yourself, I'm fine, or I'm doing good, when you're not. Like, avoidance is checking in with yourself. How am I really doing? And as Jane, when you say, sit with it, because if no one else can hold your issues, at least do yourself a favor and hold that for yourself, because you know, it's hard feeling like you have nobody, but always remember that you have yourself. Don't avoid yourself. That's my stuff. Thank you.
Wow, that was so great. Thank you so much, Chloe. God, this gathering is so amazing every week. It's so amazing. Thank you so much, Chloe. And of course, I want everyone to share who feels like sharing, so please feel free. If you feel so moved, put up your hand, come up to the mic. And I just want to reconnect here for a moment with what Chloe brought up, this avoidance of ourselves. This is the fundamental what's going on. Yes, so I didn't quite get to the end of my client's story earlier. So when he did sit in it, and he told me it just took him probably 2 minutes. He didn't look at his watch, but it didn't. It was really felt really. Oh, I don't know if I can. I gotta get out. And then he just stuck with it for a minute, and it transformed the entire situation with his partner. And his feeling of his life himself, he just immediately knew that he could handle it. And it doesn't matter what it is, right? All this thing that he had been, this is what I found. I spent all that time running away from my pain. I had so much pain, trauma, whatever, so much time. I can't deal with it. Don't talk to me. I don't want to talk about it for years. And I'm sure it's shortened my life. And when I started to just lean into the pain a little bit, I discovered whole new dimensions of my life. And this is why I love Winnie's metaphor of the gold coins, because in everything that is happening to us, no matter what it is, no matter how horrible, and I know horrible things happen to all of us, there is good in it also. And another thing that Winnie likes to say is, after victory, after success comes failure, and after failure comes success, right? So this is the yin-yang. So if you're having a successful moment, you look around like, top of the world, get ready. Because it's inevitable. Yin turns into yang, and the yang turns into yin. So, the key is to hold our center. No matter if the whole world's coming down around our ears, or if we're on a roller coaster and the whole world seems amazing at the moment. Come to center. Yes, thank you for the wonderful things that happened in my life. Yes, thank you for the difficult things that come up. So I'd love to hear from anyone else, if anyone would like to share. Okay.
Why don't you lead us?
I'm gonna lead us in a meditation. Yes, that's thank you, Winnie. And actually, if you would, Winnie, feel free mid meditation or whenever you feel moved to sing over the meditation as well. Does that sound like something you would like to do?
Okay, I'll stand next to you then.
Okay, perfect. I'll stand up. Okay.
Something to help us get centered.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so let's start by sitting upright or standing. If you're standing, make sure your feet are hip to shoulder width apart. Your spine is straight. Head feels like being pulled gently upward by a string. Let's start with a few deep breaths. Deeply inhale and exhale. And inhale and release. And inhale and let go. And this time, when you inhale, I'd like you to bring up a moment in your life recently or memorably where you have avoided. Now, before you have feelings about it, allow it to come up without judgment, whatever this is, right? So inhale and exhale any stress or tension this avoidance has caused. Inhale and begin to allow yourself to open to what is positive about what you've been avoiding. So you're inhaling, and whatever it is that's come up in your life that you're avoiding, allow yourself to begin to open, to soften, to see what the good is. We know what the bad is. We know where the stress is, where the pain is. What might this teach me in this moment? See, as you inhale, where you would like yourself to be in 5 years. So deeply inhale this vision of your future and exhale anything that is coming between you and reaching this future. So step 2, after we see what some of the good is recognizing where we want to be and the resistance in our lives that prevents us from moving forward. So we're deeply inhaling the light from the greatest flourishing. And we're exhaling all the blockages to our ideal future. Now, in Western therapy, we often picture what's wrong. So now at this point in the meditation, I'd like to reverse the what's wrong into what's right. So whatever resistance that we've had, whatever has come up that we are trying to avoid, the opposite of avoidance is flourishing. See, when we avoid, we take some of our presence away. And when we are not fully present, then we cannot feel the fullness of the abundance of our lives. We cannot feel the fullness of the joy. And so, we are connecting with the greatest flourishing. So, step 1 is to acknowledge and honor the calligraphy and the greatest flourishing. We referred earlier to Master Sha, our teacher, who brought us the Tenda, who brought us calligraphy, and who brings us empowerment that allows us to create some space between ourselves and what we are trying to avoid, to create some space between ourselves and our challenges, so that we can connect with our fullness, with our flourishing. So as you inhale, visualize what this flourishing life looks like, and feel yourself moving forward. With each inhale, every resistance between you and your most powerful, most beautiful future is melted away. And with each exhale, you gently slide forward toward your goal. Inhale as your goal is bigger and brighter. Exhale as you slide closer and closer. Inhale into the fullness and presence. Exhale closer and closer. Now that we have connected our energy with the energy of greatest flourishing, gently allow your eyes open and connect with calligraphy itself. Here we have the greatest flourishing. Allow your eyes and even your hands, if you so choose, to follow the line of the calligraphy. Allow it to become part of your meditation. Allow your eyes to gently move along. Allow your hands to trace this way if you so choose. Allow your body to sway and move to Ajahn, greatest flourishing. We're connected with the calligraphy. We say hello. We've made sure that our body is upright and relaxed. And now I'm gently going to add chanting as sound power to increase the power of the calligraphy to clear our field of all the blockages, all the avoidances. Da chang shan, 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 da chang shan. Feel free to sing along. Da chang shan, da chang shan. One more time. Da chang shan, da chang shan, da chang shan, da chang. Silent blessing, sending our love and our gratitude and our compassion toward these parts of ourselves, parts of our lives that we tend to try to avoid. Giving ourselves compassion and also gently clearing the way with our light, helping us remove light that allow us to be fully present, fully flourishing.
Well, that was very interesting, and I wonder if Jake can set up the pad for.
Yeah, of course.
So I want to share something very beautiful and amazing, which is the moment we started chanting the mantra. I literally felt my arm was rearranging, like the cells in my arm was rearranging, and so this is an illustration of what we call the law of Shenji.
I'm gonna have to do a little switch through. I deeply apologize. Da chang shan, da chang shan, da chang shan, da chang shan, da chang shan. Da chang shan.
So Jing is a concept in traditional Chinese medicine. Shen is made up of soul, heart, and mind. Qi is energy, and Jing is matter. So this arm, that's the matter because I can touch it, I can see it, and if I pinch it, owie, okay? It's something that can touch me. Energy is something I cannot see. But when I eat a bar of chocolate, I get some calories, and I can feel the change in energy in my body. And so a lot of people say mind over matter because they know that mind can move energy and energy can move matter. For example, I say, raise my left arm. Okay, so from my brain, which is a processor, it's energy. In Western medicine, we call it motor neurons. It powers my arm, and then I raise it. Right? So this is mind over matter. So, but actually, the mind is not the boss. Soul is the boss, right? So soul is actually the boss. And in one word, what we are avoiding is this. We are avoiding the soul when we listen to worry, the stress, or the anger, some people have like identity crisis. So who am I? Identity issue. Am I a man or a woman? Okay. Loneliness. When we experience worry, anger, fear, all this stuff, it comes from the mind. And Harvard brain studies show that single thought generates the amount of chemicals, and you can think about this like cortisol, serotonin, that makes us feel good or bad, and that ultimately affects our body, in terms of weight gain, cancer, and fertility. So it's very interesting. So if soul is the boss, then what if we connected the soul? And then soul can tell the heart can tell the mind. So then you're like, okay, well, if Western medicine is at a matter level, and acupuncture and herbs is at energy level, because when signals in people, we're energy. Okay, we're up and down, go walk, dancing, moving energy. I'm doing Reiki, we're balancing energy. So the wisdom is that the soul is the database